What's up, guys? Today is the day. It might be December 10th, but it feels like the morning of December 25th because today we finally got back our submission of graded cards from CGC in front of me here, and I have looked through these. So this will not be a real-time reveal of what we got. No. We're going to do something unique. I'm going to reveal to you guys what I submitted, and we're going to go through the grades it got and whether or not grading these certain cards made or lost money. And that's a big part of this. When you grade a card, if it doesn't get a certain grade, the cost of grading that card and actually the grade it receives could diminish that card's quality. It's better breaking that slab and keeping it as an ungraded card that someone else will want for their binder, or they want to pursue grading on their own. There's a cost to grading. We finally have our slabs back. Some of these cards are certified heat. Nothing but a good decision to get them graded. And then other ones took some big losses. There's vintage cards in here. There's modern cards in here. I can't wait to go through it with you guys. We have 18 slabs. We've sold 2 of them, 2 duplicates on eBay right now. So there's 16 in my hand. I'll tell you guys more about that as we go through them. But I wanted to talk a little bit about the 3 companies that people predominantly use to get cards graded. You have kind of the standard PSA. Now, PSA, I think holds benefit for 2 reasons. You're paying for the label, right? You're paying for the Mercedes. Now, it doesn't have 0.5 grades unless you get a 1.5, because some cards, a 1 is just unreadable, totally damaged, water damage. You might get a 1.5 where it's like, it's a structurally, not sound, but structurally intact card, but just terrible. So there is a 1.5, but there is no, I'll give you an example here. So these are 2 cards from PSA. We have an Evolving Skies Jolteon, and we have a base set Charmeleon. This is a 9. This is a 10. There is no 9.5. Neither of these cards, if this is a worse card, it goes down to a 9. If this Charmeleon was better, it'd be a 10. So it's kind of like a grading scale in school. A lot of people go with PSA not only for the label, but if your card's at, if it meets that minimum threshold of a 10, let's say a 91% on a math test, that's a 10. It met that minimum threshold. Whereas in CGC, there are 0.5s. So this might be a PSA 9, but because it didn't meet that 9 threshold in CGC, it got an 8.5. So you might get worse grades. But the reason people like doing that is if you actually hit a 10 in CGC, it's a better 10 in a lot of people's opinion. And then there's such thing as a pristine 10, which is like almost a nearly perfect card. A pristine, it'd be a gold label, and it'd say pristine 10. And that is top tier quality over a PSA 10 any day. So there's pros and cons to both, I'd say. And then it's just the cost of grading. That's a talk for a different video. Each company has totally different options and offers for you. So that's kind of the difference between PSA and CGC. Then there's Beckett. Beckett is a much thicker slab, so I don't like them from their lack of sleekness. They're also not as popular as CGC and PSA for Pokemon, but they do offer what's called a black label 10. And that is a literal perfect 10, where there is 4, and we'll talk about this too later with, something fun I got in store for you guys with these slabs. But you can get a perfect 10 where it actually tells you that the corners are 10, the edges are 10, the face of the card is a 10, the centering is a 10. It breaks down the 4 criteria of grading, lists that you were perfect in all 4, and got a black label 10. That might be 10 times as valuable as a PSA 10. But to get a Beckett perfect 10 black label is 1% of the cards you submit, even if they're all near mint. So it's just, there's so many ways to go about this, guys. We went with CGC. I'm pumped. I'm going to start this video off with a video from the night where a buddy of me decided what cards we were going to submit for grading. So you can see them on the floor in their top loaders, part of that process of like, what should we submit? What shouldn't we? You can see them in raw form. And then we're going to just time lapse 2 months later to today, and we're going to look at them and how they scored. It's going to be a fun way to show you guys. I do want to walk through quickly the new labels of CGC versus the old. So this is a Mega Charizard EX. This is the old label. Okay, the blue, kind of clunky, 8.5. I really like how they went with the new black. It's really sleek in my opinion. So our cards will have this label, not the old one. This is the new CGC label. And again, there are 0.5s in play here. A 9.5 might be a PSA 10. You still can't see that 10 on your slab, which kind of sucks. But yeah, enough of me rambling. I can't wait. It literally feels like Christmas morning. We're gonna run through a lot of things here. I'll show you guys all the cards, and then I'll put up on the screen via editing, you know, whether we made or lost money submitting that card. That is a super interesting thing to study and plan for when submitting your cards. But without further ado, thanks for rocking with me on this one. You're gonna love it. Let's get to the slabs. You guys, this is just raw footage, 2 a.m. footage. We're bulk grading or figuring out our bulk submission to go in for grading. And I've narrowed down, I mean, you know, I've turned down some absolute heaters that I know are in great condition to get it down to this list. And so has Frank.
25 card minimum, by the way, for bulk.
Okay.
So we're over that.
So this is going to be my brother's Christmas gift. His original Ancient Mew and his favorite Pokemon. My best condition original Pikachu. 2 Master Ball cards. My favorite card, the Machoke Movers. My first job was at a grocery store. This was the first hit I got getting back into the TCG world. 2 promos from Obsidian and Paldea. And then we start to get to some serious value. Snorlax, Dragonite EX, Sabrina's Gengar First Edition, Lugia Neogenesis, Japanese Gengar with the Tombstones, Blaine's Moltres. And then down here we have 2 of the hyper rare Charizards. I'll sell one, I'll keep one. Umbreon Gold Star, Umbreon from Plasma.
Team Plasma.
Team Plasma. Very valuable card. Lieutenant Surge First Edition. The SR Charizard from Japanese 151. Blastoise from Celebrations. And another one of my first ETB's cards, the Packer-themed Pidgey. This is what we're going in on. So we have thousands of dollars sitting on the floor right now. These are going to get sent in for grading. All right, guys. This right here is like $2,500 in cards. We are submitting about 40 cards for grading. You penny sleeve and top loader each card in order of your submission. Then you value each card on your submission. You cut out cardboard and you surround it in cardboard and rubber bands. This is CGC requirement. We are then wrapping it in bubble wrap. And this is just going to be a cash bomb getting shipped off. 20 days from now, we'll do a video seeing what slabs we come back with. If we got any 10s, it'll be absolute electric factory. Okay, so now that you guys saw what we submitted, a few of the cards I walked through on the carpet there that I thought I was going to submit, you know, the morning of, I pulled a few of them back. Obsidian Flames isn't really holding its value. There's a few cards that didn't, for me, justify paying the, you know, $13 to $15 a card for grading, so I pulled a few of them back. So what we have here is what we actually submitted and what is now in our hands, back in our possession. The other thing I will say about grading cards, it takes so long to get them back, you kind of forget you own them. And literally, like, some of these are my most important cards, favorite cards from my childhood. When you don't have them and don't see them for 2 straight months, and all the while you're opening new cards and new product, and then these arrive at your door, it's like you're acquiring them again for the first time. It is such a fun feeling, whether or not the grades are disappointing or not. So we have 3 stacks here to run through. We have vintage cards, we have modern English, and then we have Japanese. So I kind of broke it in 3 sections, and we're going to talk about how I think certain ones, I have tips for each category, if you will. So English vintage, English modern, and then Japanese. Okay. Without further ado here, let's see what this first card is. I didn't put them in any particular order. Okay, so this was an awesome, awesome grade to get. This is a near mint, mint plus 8.5 holographic Lieutenant Surge from 2000. This is a Gym Heroes trainer card, and this is first edition. So the first edition stamp adds a lot of value to this card. This was one of the high, as you'll see, this was graded very well for it being as old as it was. Great quality on the back. Obviously little whitening in the corners, not perfect. But at the end of the day, an 8, and again, this would probably be either a PSA 8 or 9, but in CGC you can get 0.5s. So yeah, this Lieutenant Surge, 8.5. Beautiful card. Okay, then we have Blaine's Moltres. This is not first edition. This is Gym Heroes, card number 1. The Hollow Blaine's Moltres. This sadly got a 6. You know, not terrible for, again, how old the card is. I wonder if it has something to do with all those scratches you see on the hollow. There's a chip in the card at the top. Like some of this whitening, I don't think warrants a 6. I think that's a 7 or a 7.5, but maybe it's this chip in the top middle. But yeah, either way, Blaine's Moltres, 6. Base set Pikachu. This is my base set Pikachu. So I have other ones that I'm sure I've picked up from card stores that are in better condition, but for some reason, actually an obvious reason, even though it got a 5.5, I wanted my Pikachu to be slabbed that I could just hold on forever. So, super cool. Obviously, it's got some edge wear, some damage, some chipping, but yeah, to just slab the original Pikachu I had, one of them, super cool, even though it got a disappointing 5.5. Okay, this is not even worth the sleeve or the slab that it's in. This Dragonite from Fossil, 1999, got a 5. Yeah, this is not going to make us too much money. You know, the card's beautiful. The card is beautiful. It's iconic. I might keep it just for my collection, give it to my kids someday, just because it's almost not even worth selling. A disappointing 5. I honestly thought it was better than a 5. Like, you guys tell me. So there's some whitening, sure, but I've gotten 7s and 8s that have some whitening. But that is not really 5 level whitening, in my opinion, at all. I'm seeing this, and this is a 7 to me all day long. And that's why I submitted it. There's got to be something that with a microscope that I'm missing. But yeah, our most disappointing 5. Okay, this got a 4, which is extremely disappointing, but this card is all time. Skyridge from 2003. Skyridge is an extremely valuable set. Reverse hollow, which are harder to grade than the hollows because you have so much surfacing that can get scratched up. I know there's a lot of reflectivity. It's in the middle of the day here. But you know, I knew that stain was there, that smudge. There's another one up here. The corners aren't great even from the front, and the front always looks better than the back. So you'll see the back here, a lot of whitening. Top is a little beat. There's the start of a tiny crease there. It's just over, I didn't expect anything more than like a 5, 5.5, but a 4 was tough. A lot of that might be the face of the reverse hollow, which again is hard for any of us with our naked eyes to see. But this is still just a legendary card from a legendary set. Skyridge, love having it slabbed, still hit a 4. But yeah, super disappointing. Could have been worth a lot more with a higher grade. There's one big boy coming up, and I don't know if it's this card or the next card. It's this card. The Neo Genesis Lugia Hollow. One of the best cards I own, bar none. That anybody, this is a chase card, this is a grail card, this is a $32,000 card in a 10. You know, we got a 4, so probably somewhere in the $100 to $120 range. But Neo Genesis is an all-time set. You can see all the scratching on the hollow. Probably part of the reason it got a 4. I think the centering's good. But look at the back. It's just chalked. Damage on all 4 sides. Corners are beat. Unfortunately, as a kid, you know, you're not taught right away. At least back in my generation, we weren't taught to sleeve it, protect it, take care of it. So the coolest cards were the ones we played with most. Literally at recess in the sandbox. Maybe you put it in a penny sleeve, but some of these you're selling in garage sales, like it is just a true crime. And unfortunately, that's what happens to some of these cards. But this is still, if this was first edition, holy cow. I mean, now we're talking a $50,000 card in a 10. But we did not get a 10. We got a 4. This one is my brother's. This is going to be part of his Christmas gift. It got a 1.5. It is hilarious that this is a thing. And that it just, I don't know. I was going to grade this no matter what. You can see the cracking, huge crack across the lower front middle. This is one of his favorite childhood cards. So it's just important it gets slabbed up, commemorated, cherished, displayed. It is bent in all 4 corners. It has got a crack through the middle of it. I think that is almost cool because it just tells the story of, you know, our childhood. I could care less with a card like this if it shows the true damage and brings us back to the memories we had with it. This was from going to see the Pokémon movie in 2000. I hope he loves seeing this. I hope it brings back positive memories. I wanted to get it slabbed for him. So this one was never to be sold, and that is just a hilarious grade to me. So that's vintage, guys. What I'll say about vintage English, you have a spectrum here, right? I'll show these 3. You're going to have damaged vintage cards. If you're doing that for nostalgia, slab them. Get them graded. Pay for it. If you're doing it for resale value, don't ever get anything graded that shows the damage of cards you played heavily with. Now, I will also say the same about these. English vintage cards, I found out, are very hard to grade. This might, I don't know, look like a 6, just dock it a grade or 2 because it's going to come back harsher than you think. I did not think this was 4 worthy. There's a lot of whitening, and we got a 4. So, and you know, that's why, okay, perfect raw example of why you slab your cards. Slab them so that what I just did, dropping it, damages the case, does not damage the card. So, perfect unintentional way to plug slabbing your cards to protect them. But yeah, vintage cards are going to be graded harshly, especially, as you'll see, in English. That's why this was so rare, to get an 8.5 hollow vintage card, first edition nonetheless. So cool. So cool. So, yes, that is what I'll say about vintage English. Just expect harsher grades. There's multiple reasons to grade a card, but yeah. Okay, that's stack number 1. I think we might have 1 or 2 more vintage cards. This one's modern, modern-ish, 2013. I guess that's 10 years ago. This could technically be considered like between modern and vintage. This is from Plasma Freeze. This is an Umbreon. I love the blue borders of some of these cards in this set with the blue like plasma print on this and then the hollow pattern. I just think it's a gorgeous card. Frustrated with the 6.5. I won't deny that. Did not like turning this over real time and first seeing that. Again, it's hard for me to see where it's a 6.5 other than this left side. I've just gotten cards back in the past that this would hit higher, so this is frustrating, but a gorgeous, gorgeous card. I do like the black with the black CGC label. I think from a display standpoint, like picture if this was, you know, an 8, 9, or a 10, how cool that just objectively looks. Next, this is part 2 of my brother's Christmas gift. His favorite Pokemon, Oranguru. This is from Vivid Voltage. It is the hyper rare version of Oranguru. It only got a 7, which really bothers me. I actually sought this out at multiple card stores and found one that I thought was in great condition. And I mean, there's dust on the slab, but there's like no whitening. So it has to be that it's a gold card and really hard to get a perfect surface. So I was hoping for a high grade for him, but I hope this paired with his, you know, Ancient Mew here One for nostalgia and memories, one to commemorate his favorite Pokemon. You know, Merry Christmas kind of thing. So that was just another one that I had slabbed almost for fun. Okay, one of two Charizard EXs, the hyper rare version from Obsidian Flames. I already sold the other one. Obsidian Flames is tanking. There's no two ways about it. I sold the other copy of this 9, which I was happy it got a 9. You know, there's a lot of holo there. It's a hyper rare reverse holo, you know, gold card. I didn't expect it to get a 10. That's why they are only 10s in this card are holding extreme value. But this right now, after getting a 9, dropped the value to $50, which did not cover the cost of grading, and it sold on eBay for $25. So I took a massive L on the other copy of this card, so I think I'm going to either keep this or give this to a card store and just take my 75% for it. Yeah, I really sent these in hopes of getting a 10. Like, I knew that, and they just didn't. They got 9s. I also got the double rare Darkness version standard Charizard EX card from Obsidian Flames graded. It also hit a 9. So all our English Charizards from Obsidian Flames hit 9s. So kind of frustrating there. This is Paldea Evolves promo card. This is a top 3 card of all time for me because Pikachu is my favorite Pokemon. These starters could not be cuter, and the way that they are all like jumping down this town street in the sky, the color scheme, it is everything I love as a collector. The color scheme, the vibes, the happiness, my favorite Pokemon. I love starters. I don't like their full evolutions ever. So I don't know, the cuteness and the color of it is awesome. It got a 9 instead of a 10, but this is a card that I'm just going to have for my collection. Paldea is probably, other than 151, my favorite set ever. And to have the promo card encased and get at least a 9 is super cool for me. So this was just the one promo card I wanted graded. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, one more vintage card. This should have been in the first stack we went through. Sabrina's Gengar First Edition. I'm happy with a 7 here. Obviously, anything higher really increases the value of this card because it is from the year 2000. It's another Gym Challenge card, but this was a first edition Sabrina's Gengar. Gengar holds a ton of value, especially first edition Gengars. So to get a 7 on this, again, you always want something more. I submitted it thinking it would get an 8 because there is not a whole lot wrong with it. There is that one white, it's not actually a crease, it's a white scuff. So if that docked it a couple points, that's tough. Bottom left corner is not perfect, but like, take that out. This is like a 9 in my opinion, and it got a 7. So the front is just so gorgeous, and it's non-hollow. So I truly wonder if this was a hollow, would it have gotten a 5 or a 6? Because that's kind of what our other ones did. So non-hollows are safer, hold less value obviously, but they're safer. But yeah. Nonetheless, this and that Lieutenant Surge First Edition 8.5 were our 2 best vintage graded submission returns for just at least a somewhat high of a grade. This is near mint. All right, now we get to Japanese. Very, very excited to show you guys how Japanese graded and fared against English. Let's see what we have first here. Okay, we have our first Master Ball. So you can see when I reflect the card, you see the M above the reverse hollow pattern. You get 1 Master Ball card per booster box of Japanese 151. They are very, very valuable if they hit 10s. CGC gives 9.5s, which means this is almost a perfect card. Just something did not warrant giving it a 10. But it might have hit a PSA 10. So lost on the gamble on this card, but still just to have a 9.5 Master Ball for the personal collection, very cool. Okay, Japanese 151 full art Charizard in a Gem Mint 10. The first 10 that I've revealed to you guys from this submission. And for it to be a full art, again, this is the quality difference between Japanese and English. You can't always see it, but if, you know, like that gold Charizard, for instance, got a 9. The other gold Charizard got a 9. Every English full art holo card we submitted was at best a 9. There is so much room for error on a full art Charizard card like this. And for it to hit a gem mint 10 and be the full art Charizard, which is valuable in and of its own right, is just so cool to let this sit, see how it fares in the market. And honestly, it's going to be a hard one to part with anyway. Just to see a 10 from a card that I pulled, let alone a Charizard, in today's current set, paying homage to the, original 151 Pokemon. This is just so cool to me. I'll take the glare out there and just show you guys one more time this Gem Mint 10 full art Charizard from 151. I'm hesitant to get this grade in English. I have it, but there's just no way it's hitting a 10 in English, and that's my point. It's just good quality card. So that's a banger. All right. Japanese card number 3. Okay, our one vintage Japanese card we submitted. Shockingly, the non-holo Sabrina's Gengar first edition graded higher. Now, is that because it's non-holo and this is holo? It's hard to see, but that is holo. I don't know. This just graded really well, which is a surprise because it was English. But yeah, this is awesome. You can kind of see that holo there. So there are tombstones in the background here. And those only exist in the Japanese version. This card, when it was printed in English, took those out. So read up on that if you want to learn more about why that happened and the lore behind it. But yeah, see the holo there and see the tombstones? They're kind of hard to see, but they are there. And Gengar, the menacing, almost Grim Reaper Pokemon of the Pokemon world, standing over tombstones, what looks like on like a stormy beach or cliff. And then just the fact that it's a Gengar and it's Sabrina's Gengar from 1999, Gym 2, Challenge from the Darkness. I'll take a 6.5. So that was our one vintage Japanese card we submitted. And now we have our last card. I will give you a hint. It is another Master Ball. And this was our Gem Mint 10 Master Ball. This and the Charizard made this submission for me. Both of them full holo patterns. Obviously, this is a reverse holo. This is a full art holo. But so much room for surfacing air for both of these in fire energy type to hit 10s with those black labels. Looks so cool next to each other. And then again, a Master Ball 10 is worth, 7 to 10x what its raw card will be. Like this will be $15 just because you're pulling your one Master Ball a box, and now it's almost a $100 card because it's a CGC 10. And just knowing a CGC 10 goes further than a PSA 10 is awesome. So this is just to naturally pull this card and submit it and get a 10 on a Master Ball when I put quite a bit of money into Japanese 151 is really fulfilling. So you'll get some frustrating cards that come back. Like I'll just probably pull a random one. Yep. You'll get some very frustrating ones that come back. Some that, you're very happy with, and then some that just absolutely juice you up. And that is the nature of grading. And you're going to learn a lot. Like you're going to learn, don't submit what you think looks like a fine Snorlax. Like, oh yeah, a little bit of corner damage. Oh yeah, one smudge, probably a 7. Nope, 4. That's just what's going to happen with a reverse holo Skyridge vintage card with a little bit of damage. Expect something way worse than you thought, and look at if it still makes value sense to grade if it gets a couple scores less than what you thought. That would be my piece of advice. Grade it harshly yourself, look at if that holds value, and then if anything better, it's like managing our expectations, right? I came in kind of high, got defeated on a couple, but these two did not disappoint. And then looking at our 2 Master Balls, and we're going to submit more Master Balls. We have, I think, 6 total in the collection. But look at, this can't be a coincidence, you guys. The 3 modern Japanese cards we submitted, 10, 9.5, 10. And all of them have so much room for error with their Master Ball holo patterns and their full art patterns. 10, 9.5, like Didn't get a 9. Didn't get a 9 Master Ball. Would have been totally... I could submit 5 Master Balls, and I would expect 3 of the 5 to get 9s. Maybe not anymore. Like, maybe 9.5 is the bar. I don't know. Japanese is king in terms of quality, and a lot of people are Japanese card collectors. But yeah, these were our Master Balls. Look at that hollow pattern. So cool. And there was literally nothing wrong with this card. Didn't get a pristine 10, so there was something in this card that got like an A+ instead of a, you know, A++ 100%. That didn't get us a gold label pristine 10. I think I would have fallen off my chair opening the box if this got a pristine 10. But yeah, guys, that was a lot of cards here. I would say probably these 4 were our best grades and return on value. We did get a 7 here, which is super nice, first edition. And then a lot of cards just for me in my childhood, a couple for my brother. You know, some very modern English 9s. You're going to see a lot of 9s when you grade modern, especially in English. And then this is just absolute grail card territory. Not going to sell it. This just sits on your shelf even if it gets a 3. Like, this just sits on your shelf. So that kind of is what it is. That's the summation of it. We're going to be a little bit more strategic when we submit our next one. More Japanese cards, more modern English that even if they get a 9, they at least pay for the grading. Less vintage. You know, I do want to slab my base set, Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur. They'll get 2s to 4s. I know that. They're damaged, but I want to slab them. Those will be the ones we just spend money to spend money. But really, yeah, I hope this taught you guys a lot. This was CGC. We're going to now, I do want to just quickly let you guys know that next video, we're going to be talking about what we're going to try to trade some of these that we don't want to keep for our personal collection and get a true, like, awesome grail card, maybe a Beckett Black Label card. Just see what we can do. So if you aren't a subscriber, subscribe to the channel. I hope this was fun for you guys. Leave a like. There's a lot more coming, and we're going to see which of these we choose to keep, which we list on eBay, and which we think, you know, maybe we can bring to a card store, you know, a couple of these, maybe a 9.5 Master Ball. I'll probably want the Master Ball for my collection, but maybe it's like bringing some cards like this and the Moltres and seeing if we can turn these into like a $200 slab, like a Black Label Beckett or something. Just maybe a little bit of a tease there since I kind of already know what I'm going for. So yeah, make sure you're a subscriber, be a good human, and we'll catch you in the next one. Peace.